Hi everyone, this is Serverless Camp Week 3, Step 5 by Bit Project. My name is Emily, and in this video, we'll be going over how to code a download trigger to connect your entire bunny image project back together. So we've coded a bunny image upload function that uploads images to blob storage. Now we're going to code a download function that retrieves a download link that allows you to download the image. And by doing so, you're kind of creating this Google Drive dupe. Very simple at that, but it's the same concept. So the first thing we're going to do is actually create an HTTP trigger function. But before we do that, I just wanted to note, if you want to test your functions locally from now on, you're going to need to go to local settings.json and add this setting to the file. This is because the timer trigger is different than HTTP triggers. And now that you have that in your repository, it changes things up a bit. Okay, I'm going to click add, I'm going to click HTTP trigger, I'm going to type in bunny image download, press enter, function, press enter, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of lines 4 through 7 because we will not need that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is add in our declarations for the packages we want to initialize and also the variables that we're going to need. So the first thing here is going to be the node fetch package, and we're going to need to use that to request to URLs to determine whether or not the image is actually at that requested URL. All right, so I'm going to copy paste this line of code, and you should be familiar with what that does. We've done that in a couple previous steps. I'm going to go into the bunny image download directory just to install it, just in case. Install, and remember that we're going to be using version 2. Awesome. So now that we've done that, we've initialized our package. Let's go ahead and move on to the actual variables. So I'm going to copy this here, and I will let you know what that all of that means. So the first line, what's happening right there is we're retrieving the value of the username header named username. So that's where the users are going to tell us what file they want. What's the file name? The second variable is for storing the correct download URL. The third and fourth ones are for testing whether the file extension is PNG or JPEG, because we do not know that. Make sure to add in your blob storage account name. So mine is called Emily Storage Account. Very creative. Let's put that in here. All right. So now that we've done that, we've initialized all the variables we're going to need. I'm actually going to add one more variable, and this is just for, I guess you could say, programming efficiency. I'm going to say success, var success equals true, because we're just assuming now that there is an image. If there's not, we'll change the success value to false, but you'll see that in a second actually. So now we're going to attempt to download the image to see if it's available at that particular URL, and that's how we're going to test whether or not the link works. We're testing all the possible links. The way we're going to do that is, you see here, these are the calls using the fetch module. So we're going to test the download PNG. We're going to download PNG, and we're also going to test download JPEG. And using this data, we're going to determine whether or not it's the correct URL or whether both of them actually don't work. So that's exactly what we're doing here with conditional statements. All right, let me put that here. So here it's testing the status text of the request. And I'm going to show you guys what the status text actually looks like, because I think it'd make more sense if you did. Just going to copy paste that. You can use any browser you want. I already have an example pulled up here, but I'm gonna do it again. So I pasted this here. This is your link to your storage account container. And I'm gonna type in some random file name. Obviously that's not gonna exist. So when I do this, it's gonna say the specified blob does not exist. We're using this message to determine whether or not the link is correct and which link we can use. So I'm gonna head back here. Oops, go back to code. And look at these if statements. These are pretty self-explanatory. I can actually get rid of these right here. So if neither of them exists, success is going to be false, but otherwise one of them is going to be true. So that means success will be true. And just to point out here, you're setting the download URL, which is the one we're returning to the user, to the correct URL. So whether it be PNG or JPEG. Okay, now we're down to our last step. And our last step is going to be actually returning it to the user. And we're going to do that through the context object. I'm going to copy this here and paste it. Now what we're doing here is we're just returning the download URI, which is download, and whether or not it was a success. If the success was false, the download URI will be blank. And I think we're about ready to test it out. So we're going to test this out locally. And let me see. Make sure you're in the main directory, the root directory, because that has all your configuration files. I'm going to run function start. And we're going to get this started up. Now, before you try downloading anything, make sure you have something in your storage container, and I'll show you guys what I have. Okay, now go to your Azure portal and go to your storage account, go to your containers, images. So right now I have 2 images in there right now, the test 3, test 4. I'm going to try to download these just like I would download from a Google Drive folder. Okay, now recall that for our headers, it's going to be called the username, and the first thing is going to be test 3. Let's go ahead and try that. And we're sending a request. Awesome. So it returned to us the download URI and the fact that success was true. If you want to test this out, you can also go ahead and try downloading it. And you can see here, if I move my face, you can see that the test3.jpg was successfully downloaded. So we were able to get our image. Now I'm going to show you guys what it looks like if something does not exist. So look at that. And then if you send it, it's going to say false because the image does not exist. You can play around. You can try using a PNG file type to see if your function still works. Remember to test all of the use cases, the possible cases that something could occur. But otherwise, I think we're about done. So before we commit our code, I'm actually going to, let me stop this execution. Always remember to deploy your function and deploy it to the same function app every time. Okay, so while that's deploying, I am going to commit my code. And you should always, before you push your code, make sure your function deploys first, or else the bot's not going to be able to check the updated code. I'll see you guys after that's done. All right, it just finished. So I'm going to go ahead and push this to the bunny image branch. Okay, let's go ahead and check that out on GitHub. So we've done everything here. Let's compare and pull request. Bunny image download function. Finished. Bunny image added download HTTP trigger function. And I can go ahead and create a pull request for that. So if you guys see here, let me go back to the issue. We were able to, just a quick recap, we created a HTTP trigger function. We were able to return it and also use the username header to request a specific image. And we're going to need to place our HTTP trigger function secret in the repository named bunny image endpoint 2. And then we've already committed. All right. So this is a good place to recap what to do if you forgot to do something like this and your check for the bot already ran. So I'll show you guys how to tell it to check it again. So we're going to go ahead and add this to our action secrets, new repository secret, bunny image endpoint 2. And you can find this URL right in your Azure portal. And it's going to be in bunny image download, get function URL. Awesome. Now we're going to add the secret. Now to ask the bot to check your code again, if it didn't run the first time, ours did already run because I already added the secret in, but you could click on rerun all jobs and then it'll rerun all of it for you and check your code again. So that way you don't have to keep committing. All right, well that's it for this particular step. I'll see you guys in the next video for our new project, and it's going to be working with a NoSQL database called Cosmos DB. Bye.